Alright, welcome back. Remember, if you're not having fun, it is not a hobby. This is a Ficus Aurea. It's a strangler fig. It's the only ficus that's native to Florida that I know of, although I do think some people actually say, I think it's an amplissa or something like that is native, so could be just two of them, I'm not sure. Got this guy in July of 2022. I was just out on a jog and I just saw somebody was discarding a houseplant, or what they thought was a houseplant, and you could see it was overgrown and busting out of that pot. I'm guessing they left it behind a shed or something and forgot about it for a little bit. But just picked it up off the side of the road and decided, to see what I could do with it. It's really, over a long time, it's not going to be much for leaf production and things like that and everything. So, I got no hopes of making a perfect specimen out of it, but I thought I could have a little bit of fun with it. Take a look at the other side. That was the same month that the hurricane hit us that I pruned it. Had it looking pretty decent, I think. It was really healthy. Went to go put it back out on the ground. I've had it just in this flimsy pot here in the hopes that, because it is a strangler fig, it would just start, really growing in the ground there. And hurricane completely defoliated, which probably wasn't that big of a deal. But then I had so many other, things on my mind and everything after the storm that I didn't really even notice as it was recovering. It was starting to get a ton of scale. A lot of that comes from, I say it comes from, but like a lot of the plants that I do keep right on the ground, I feel like they're a little more susceptible to the pests like that instead of up on pallets or up on cinder blocks. And I was letting it get some escape roots, and they never really amounted to much out of the bottom of this pot here, but that's the only one. Since it hasn't been all that really happy, and since it really wasn't, on fire kind of growing through this thing, I don't really want it to get attached to it too much more. And it's not really all that super attached to it now. So I'm thinking maybe I should just get it in a proper training pot with some good soil. If it doesn't take or it dies or something like that, I'll be able to reuse the soil, just as long as I make sure it doesn't rot in there. It's not rotting or anything. It's just not in the best of health. I'm going to start by just taking off all these yellowing leaves. Most of these are in the process of falling off anyway. I had it sitting in such a spot out there that gets so much neglect that I didn't really even realize how much healthier the other side looks compared to this side. So over here on the healthier side, just taking out a couple of the older leaves. Springtime here in Florida, as long as it's got some life left in it, I don't think it's going to go through transplant shock too much. Of course, I did think it would have a better grip on this little tray and everything too. Wrong about that. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I think if not for the hurricane, I'd probably have a massive, lot healthier roots than what I've got there. Alright, decided to go with this little training pot here. Went ahead and put that spent soil, or not really spent, but just semi-used soil there in the bottom of the pot. Gonna use some fresh soil on top. All right, so kind of disappointing the small round roots that were coming out there, considering it's a strangler fig. I think it would be a little more aggressively growing, but at the same time, it has its issues. And not only that, I mean, I did just, take it out of the garbage a couple years ago too, about a year and a half ago or whatever. So see if we can't get it to regain some steam here. All right, and it has been nearly 5 months since that video. It's the beginning of July now. That was mid-February. For a couple months, I thought this guy might have been a goner. Came back, and then honestly, I kind of even forgot that I never really finished my follow-up video on it. I was looking at it the other day, thought it was looking pretty good, and I was thinking, man, how long has it been since I've done a video on that? And I realized I never followed up the repotting video, so figured it was time to bring it in and show you guys where it was at. 3-4 years ago, right now, I probably would have been taking and cutting all these off, maybe about halfway, trying to hope to let it bush out a little bit more. But now I kind of realize with a ficus that's going to have this big of leaves on there, never really going to get a bunch of leaf reduction to begin with, so there's no sense in making it too terribly bushy and allow it to finish healing some of the wounds up on top of these chop scars. See if I can give you a good look. You can see that one there actually has two branches growing off of it. But I'm going to allow it just to kind of keep its momentum up like that, and either wait until they're nearly healed or wait until it gets a little bit too tall to really kind of stand up on its own. I mean, this is these trees really do get very large in the ground. I don't know how much keeping in this pot is really going to keep it from getting too terribly tall. And then I'll just come in and probably just cut them off about there. Hopefully they'll be quite a little bit thicker. And again, healing these up a little bit more. And we'll just see what happens in the future.